At the helm of the Byzantines' resurgence was Basil II. A man of the people, Basil was the most brilliant military mind the Byzantines ever produced.
He was an emperor that did not sit back and enjoy the luxuries of the palace. He went out campaigning every season, leading the Byzantine armies against the foes.
He was seen to be a soldier's emperor. But there's no doubt he ranks as a highly competent, very able, very intelligent, very versatile military leader, as well as a good ruler.
Basil's greatest enemy was Tsar Samuel, the ruler of Bulgaria, a Slavic kingdom vying for control of the Balkan Peninsula. In 986, a decade into his reign, Basil suffered a devastating defeat at the hands of Samuel's army.
The first time he marched north, he was only 18, I think. He might have been a bit younger. And he walked into an ambush, basically.
Humiliated, Basil swore revenge on the Bulgarian nation, a revenge that would take 25 years to unfold. In the meantime, his defeat spurred his Byzantine rivals into action. After crushing a series of revolts within his empire, Basil turned his attention to restoring lost imperial lands. Determined to regain Byzantium's glory, he ordered his engineers to design a new model of a deadly siege weapon, the trebuchet. The trebuchet's design was based on simple principles. Using ropes, operators levered a wooden arm equipped with a sling and stone. The front and sides of the wooden frame were covered in fresh animal skins to protect it from flaming arrows.
You'd have your axle and your pivoting sling. Because of the disparity between the short end on one side of the axle and the long end on the other, you'd maximize the velocity in the swing. So you could throw substantial weights considerable distances.
Basil II did nothing by half measures. The trebuchet his engineers designed could hurl rocks weighing more than 400 pounds and took a staggering force of 400 men to operate. With the world's finest troops and largest siege craft, the Byzantine army was unstoppable. And after years on the battlefield, Basil had developed a creed of ferocity and discipline among his men.
He has a reputation of being harsh but fair, and of course, if the soldiers believe in their leader, they'll fight better and more effectively.
He prohibited anyone from breaking rank and lectured them on the need for readiness at all times. His force could move with lightning speed across all types of terrain. Finally, in the year 1001, Basil decided it was time to head back to Bulgaria and deal with unfinished business.
He then turns his attention back to Bulgaria and spends the next 15 years basically solidly campaigning year on year on year, gradually destroying the Bulgars' infrastructure, ravaging the countryside, destroying the economy.
Tsar Samuel would soon realize the scope of Basil's fury.
Samuel had been the only man to beat Basil in battle, and for that distinction he would pay dearly. On July 29th in the year 1014, Basil launched a surprise attack, conquering the Bulgarian army, capturing 14,000 men. His revenge would be brutal. He blinded all of them, leaving every 100th man with one eye to lead the rest back to Bulgaria. When Samuel saw his ragged and mutilated army, he collapsed, and 2 days later he died.
It's one thing to execute all of these people. It's another thing to send them back to the country where their countrymen in some ways have to take care of all these people. So they become a kind of permanent liability to the society.
The cruel victory gave the emperor control of the Balkans. He would be known thereafter as Basil the Bulgar Slayer. In 1025 AD, when Basil died, the Byzantines were at the pinnacle of their power. But the empire was left rudderless and vulnerable to struggles within.